What's up guys, Tyler from Ty Speed here today with our Project GR86 Toyota. We had an NJMP Thunderbolt, brought this car down for Nick Trapasso, a good long-term client of mine. While this car looks stock on the outside, with the exception of some decals, we've done some really cool work underneath with the suspension and brakes. And Max and I spent the morning driving this car in on track. It really turned out to be a nice result. And I'm going to give you a quick walk around right now with some of the things that we upgraded on this car to make it just as good as it was. Alright, so under the hood here, as you can see, even though this is a Toyota brand vehicle, it's powered by a Subaru Boxer engine. So this FA24 2.4 liter flat 4 Boxer engine makes about 230 horsepower. We haven't done much to upgrade the power on this car, but we have made a few improvements that I think are going to help overall on track. First and foremost, a Greddy oil cooler and a thermostat bypass. So putting this in, I think strongly reduced our oil temperatures today. I think we would have seen 275 plus on track. We were under 225 all day long, and it's about 100 degrees out here today at the track. Second to that, the factory intake had a very large intake muffler on it that not only dampened sound, but also reduced airflow to the throttle body. So we put a Cannon drop-in air filter and a GR speed muffler delete for the intake pipe. We went ahead and also added in a FT speed unequal length header. That's got a 200 cell race cat in it, so that actually added some power as well, and also a really nice sound, that classic Subaru sound that you're used to hearing. So that was a really nice upgrade. Other than that, the only things you can see here from the engine bay are the upper teen strut mounts for our adjustable suspension. The adjustable camera plates have been set along with a full alignment on this car, and we can go more into those dampers later. Alright, coming down here to ground level, we got this car wheel and tire setup changed over. We've got some SSRs, 17x9 ET40. That came up considerably. The stock tire size came with Michelin Pilot Sport 215s. We currently got 245 squared on this thing with the new Continental Sport Plus brand new 200 tread wear tires on here that actually ran in pretty well today. I was very impressed. Not only that, we added some stainless steel lines. Some specialty Duncan Magic brake pads, which you know about if you follow us from the BMW side of things. Some cool Mishimoto anodized red lug nuts. And of course, what we got going on down here is that suspension setup with that teen suspension. So we can show you a little more about that later, but we bought basically the top of the line suspension for this car. It's got remote reservoirs, full adjustments on the mounts, you name it. And I think that's really what made this car perform as well as it did on track today. Going on inside the car, this is the premium level model, so it came with some really nice Recaro styled seats with good bolsters, so I don't think really much to change here. We added a couple of accoutrements to this thing. We got a weighted rim speed shift knob. We added an auto blip device. The owner of this car is not so great at heel toe like a lot of us are out there, so took some figuring out on how to wire that in, but we got that set up. It actually works really nicely on track. Other than that, you've got some premium level features here on this car, but it really does a good job on track. I think it's really easy, it's comfortable to drive, so other than some harnesses and a bolt-in 4-point roll bar, I think we'll be leaving the inside of this car exactly as you see it. Alright, so Max just gone ahead and dropped out the complete rear end here, and we've made a couple of selections for parts for upgrades for the back end on this car. Starting first off, we've got some SPL solid aluminum subframe mounting bushings, so they're going to replace the factory rubber bushings, which are very isolated. And can allow the subframe to move around a lot on the platform, especially with the grippier tires. So we'll be pressing out these factory bushings and installing these solid ones. Got the SPL adjustable lower reel trailing arm here, and this allows for several adjustments of shock placement, which can change a couple different things, including obviously caster, as well as wheel rate, because we can actually adjust the shock and put it in a few different locating positions here. So that's something that we'll experiment with as well. We have the front forward SPL tow arm, fully adjustable. And then we've gone ahead and selected a set of really well built and nicely put together AST Moton 24-way adjustable dampers. So we'll be finishing off the installation of the subframe with these front and rear dampers. String rates have been selected in accordance with talking with AST Moton to figure out what's going to be a good place to start for this car. So hopefully we'll figure that out, and if not, use a standard 2.5mm spring, so we can change this out if we feel like the car is either under or oversprung. But finishing that off, we also got a nice upgraded rear sway bar to replace the pencil stick rear sway bar that's in the back there. It's a two-way adjustable from Eibach. And again, all this stuff has been sourced from Turn 14. They have it in stock. So if you got yourself a GR86, these are a couple good parts I think you would be able to start the project with to really improve some performance and handling. Alright, so right now we're just got done installing the new race header on equal length, which is pretty cool, and we moved on to some of the suspension bits. So one thing I wanted to point out, which I thought was actually pretty cool, is that Subaru uses a modular multi-piece subframe. So the sway bar is bolted in such a way that you can actually remove this piece from the subframe and the unibody itself for servicing. So it runs across that way, and you can literally just take this out as one chunk and remove the whole sway bar. On a BMW, you'd find yourself dropping the entire subframe with the motor and cradle intact to do this job. So that's actually a really cool bit. So we got these upgraded iBox sway bars, some new SPL adjustable end links so that we can effectively corner balance this car when we're done. This is going on the front and the back, so it should be a nice upgrade for these much wider and stickier Continental 200 showboat tires. Simultaneously, Max is working on the rear end here, and one of the first upgrades we've been able to mount up so far this afternoon has been this new Cusco differential brace. So oftentimes you'll see with a car that has higher grip than stock or bigger tires or a little more power, as you get a lot of axle hop in the back on acceleration coming out of corners, things like that. So in order to combat that, I feel like this was a really effective and inexpensive rear upgrade. Instead of trying to find or put in completely solid subframe, or I'm sorry, differential bushings, we are putting in solid subframe bushings. We're going to put this brace in to help limit the movement and improve traction coming out of corners of the rear differential.